where he wouldn't be given the same in, let's say, a full international event. The eyes of the world will be on this just to see what he does. My bet is that he will swim alongside the winner for most of the swim and then ease away in the last 300.
Which event do you think Sun really focuses on, believes is his strongest event?
His best chance for me is the 200 freestyle. I think he's got the build, he's got the background, the endurance, he's coming down. That's where I would have him.
So that is Cho Cheng-chi of Chinese Taipei. First of two athletes representing that country in this race, which is referred to as a heat. I don't need to tell you where he comes from. Apla Prawira. He did briefly hold a games record earlier in the program, did Poirier. We'll tell you more about that as the race progresses. We just soak up a bit of the atmosphere as we look at Huang there. The crowd are getting behind their man.
First time we've seen the crowd on the other side of the pool so big.
Ji Qingqi coming in, bronze medalist in the 200. Huy Hoàng HCB from Vietnam, a bronze medalist in the 800. Well, that's a cheer to compete with the cheer of the Indonesian fans behind Poirier. Sun's mother sat there watching attentively. And the last man, almost unnoticed, comes on. Shogo Takeda. And there is Atsuga Eriai. And there is Shogo Takeda, silver medalist in the 800 meters. So let's see what the approach of Sun is. Will he allow the likes of Takeda or Hirai to dictate the tempo, and then when the time is right, really just go steadily through the gears, easing down on the accelerator pedal. In career terms, that world record may well be back in the mists, but as we know, he's a very accomplished performer, and as we've seen before, he's almost dictating the way this race will be started. He won't go, or the race won't go, until he's ready. Having a few words with an official there, something he didn't like.
No, he's just setting up his lane marker, Martin. He said he wants it on the left-hand side, but he did it very aggressively.
The men's 1500 meters, 30 lengths of the pool, and look at that. He's saying, I'm not ready. He wants quiet, which is reasonable. But if somebody was going to ask for it, you can bet your bottom dollar it was going to be this fella.
Well, the 1500 freestyle, fastest 8 entries coming together. For me, I really hope that Takeda has a 1450 in him, or a 1455, and make Sun Yang work for his gold medal. Takeda is the Asian fastest this year at 1455.42. But it's so easy for Sun Yang just to keep that long stroke going. Be very interesting to see if he goes for a time. I doubt it. It's been a long, hard week, and really his well-publicised target was disrupted by the 4x2 team, the 4x1 team. So I just think that he'll cruise through with the leaders, and then, as you said, just ease away at the end.
Yes, Sun started off the week with 5 career golds in the Asian Games over 2 games in 2010 and 2014. The plan was to claim 5 here, 4 in individual events, an additional 1 in a relay, while all the business that he could control, he has done thus far. He's won the individual titles. He's won the 200. He's won the 400. He's claimed the 800 free. But the relay's got away from him. But Sun at the moment out in front. The numbers are quite easy to understand here if you're looking at 15 minutes. It's basically, once they're into their swimming, a minute a lap. So something there inside 2 minutes, bearing in mind that because of that start, there is an advantage just inside the minute at every 100-meter point. Keeps you inside 15-minute schedule. But as Drew was saying there, perhaps the greater test can come from one of the others, the likes of Takeda, the silver medalist in the 800 meters. Can he force Sun maybe to feel just a little bit uncomfortable at some point? Force him to go not just to 15, but below 15. The world record, for what it's worth, 14:31.02.
Not worth much in this swim. All playing cat and mouse here in the early stages. Soon just seeing what Takeda is made of here. So sitting on the 30 points quite comfortably. It's like a swim down for Sun Yang, really. Takeda's doing the work. You can see breathing every 2, very light legs at the back. From all the leading swimmers, nobody holding the 6 kick except Nguyen in lane 6, working quite hard on the quiet here. The yellow hat nearest to us in 4th place at the moment, and he's kicking away strongly. Prawira having to kick quite hard in lane 1 just to stay with them, leaning on the arm. But you can see there the class field in the centre, all arms very long. Of course, Takeda having to put in twice as many strokes than Sun, still hitting 61 for the hundreds. So it's nothing special, and it won't be in terms of world times, but it's an interesting cat and mouse game. And Takeda possibly using Sun Yang as an extra motivation and target to try and stay with the talented Chinese athlete. Going very well is Ji Jingji, 200 bronze. Here he is up at the 15, and well, he's in the race at the moment as Nguyen comes to join the 3 and make it 4 across the pool in this early stages, just at the 500 mark.
Yes, I think Nguyen was probably the fastest swimmer in the pool over the course of the last 200 metres or so. He's helped close that gap to join what is essentially a quartet now in front, but Sun Yang, long stroke, really coasting turning there almost simultaneously with Takeda. Sun now breathing to his right. There was a period when every second stroke they were virtually staring into one another's eyes.
Now, although Sun Yang has a very strong finish, so does Ji, his teammate. So we might see, not at this stage, this is too early, they're just comfortably holding the same pace. The morning swim, they were all doing, Paige was doing 31.2, 31.3, 31.4 and was working very hard to do that. These are 30.50s, and of course if you have half a second or 3/4 of a second and you multiply it up by 15, you can see that these swims are not going to be troubled by that 15.29 this morning, but it'll build, don't worry.
Yes, this is pretty much on 15-minute schedule, so that swim from this morning, which will be taken into account when we merge the times. Advait Page of India swimming 15.29.96, so, and I think it's fair to say we'll finish out of the medals, particularly there with 4 men lying abreast.
You know, it's actually quite hard for Sun Yang to swim so slowly, and I think we might see him make a little break just to relieve the monotony and force a little pressure onto his opponents. Doesn't want to get caught up in swimming too hard at the end of this. Still staying beautifully long though. Just picking it up, going into the wall, just to get a good turnover of the body. It's a very long body, remember. And then get the bounce off the pad and back up to work away at the stroke. Again, Nguyen just checking with an odd breath to the right-hand side just to check the opposition. He's up with the race. Ji Takeda just being dropped a little bit as Sun Yang just puts in a little bit extra power into the stroke. Imperceptible, you can't tell. All you can tell is from the relative position of the bodies. Nguyen starting to make an effort in the middle. This is still very early doors, coming to the 800, a marker. They'll know what it feels like this evening. They've waited a long time, it's all week. They've had to keep the training up, they've had to keep some endurance up, and yet Ji's had to swim 200 in sprint events. So at the 800 then, 4 swimmers making a bid for the glory.
And back in 5th place, but still almost in touch. Prawira of Indonesia finished 6th in the 800 metres. Well, I mentioned before the race that Prawira briefly held a games record on the opening day. He swam in the weaker morning heat of the 800 metres, and by virtue of the fact that the 800 metres were held at these games for the first time in 67 years, well, that record was certainly not up to modern standards. And Prawira won that morning heat, set a games record, and the record which had stood for 67 years, well, it lasted 7 hours until Sun Yang got into the pool that evening and blew it away and took the title. At least tonight, Prawira is in the same pool at the same time as the 3-time Olympic champion.
He comes to the event with a 15.28.69 qualifying time. That's his national record for Indonesia, but remember this is a slightly slower swim at the front, so Prawira might be out of that as well.
Well, Nguyen, who worked very hard to get back with the leading trio, matched them for pace for about 200 metres, and now he's delivering the challenge. But the point is here that Sun is responding. His sense that this is a bid here from the Vietnamese, and these two are getting away from the rest now. This is the 2/3 point, just outside 10 minutes. This is where we start to see, I think, the fastest phase of the race. The gloves are off. Sun Yang being forced into making a move. Good reason to believe he's still very much within himself. But Nguyen on the left there, the Vietnamese, has thrown down the gauntlet.
It's an interesting move by Nguyen. Now this is what you see in some of the modern distance swimmers. 6 feet leg kick, good balance, breathing to both sides, higher tempo on the stroke. Sun Yang has noticed it. He's breathing to his right, so he looks across the pool and he can see that. So whereas before he was tracking Takeda, feeling he might be the danger, he's now moved up to be level with Nguyen. Getting to 1100 now. Can Nguyen make him work any harder? 11 to 13 is the danger spot. This is where the mind wanders, the body feels the pain. The lactic acid has built up and you've got to tolerate that in the muscles. But you've got to keep going and you've got to think about your pace. You've got to have your mind working. The cognitive processes cannot go to sleep at this point, despite the fact that it's a long, hard swim. Not for Nguyen. He's got different motivation. He's got excellent tempo on the stroke, and Sun Yang is having to work very hard for this swim when I think he didn't really want to. But he's the man with the talent. He's the man who wants the gold. He has the world record on the event, although that's some time ago now, and I don't see any danger in him winning the event. But being made to work this hard, that's a great swim from Nguyen of Vietnam, who comes with a 15:19 national record.
That last 100 split in exactly a minute. Nguyen is a bit like the cyclist in the Tour de France on the mountain. He can see the summit, he's hurting himself, but he knows his only chance of beating the great man is really to hit the pedals hard and just kick and try and open up the gap. But now Sun Yang has moved onto his shoulder and gone past. And perhaps the moment for Nguyen to really hurt is happening now. And all that the Vietnamese has done is perhaps to bring out the best in the Chinese, the world record holder, now in front. 200 meters remaining. 4 lengths of the pool. It has been a glorious swim from Nguyen. Can he respond? He's hanging on so bravely here. But what does Sun left have in the locker?
Well, he's just batting him away now like a fly on the arm. He's decided he's had enough of trailing and tracking and keeping equal. But Nguyen not finished yet, still digging in hard. Sun Yang, the arms are not quite as high as normal. The tempo is high because he's trying to get away and create that gap. Ji in third place has had a marvellous swim, and it's Takeda that has been broken by the chess-like performance in the early stages. Sun Yang, 100 to go, gets the bell. Nguyen has put out his best here to try and force Sun Yang into a swim he didn't want, but it's back on the wall that Sun Yang will take another gold here in Jakarta.
Well, after one or two 62s and 63s, Sun has stuck in here a couple of 58s, and that is what has taken him away from the Vietnamese, who is not struggling, who is not slowing, but he's not quickening up at the same pace here as the Chinese, the world record holder. And the record holder here is sprinting clear. It's been an imperious performance in the end. It's only going to be around about 15 minutes, just inside, 14:58.53. Sun takes the gold, his 4th of the games. But in so many respects, the plaudits go to Nguyen, who worked the champion so hard, and his reward is a silver medal. Ji of China, a bronze medalist in the 200, follows up in the 15.
Great cheer for Priwara, and Hirai having a personal battle for 4th and 5th. Nguyen, 15:19.75 he came. The record now 15:01.63, so near the sub 15-minute mark. Well, an interesting battle on the 1500. Sun Yang certainly still the master in Asia, but they're now swimming so much faster across the world that he would certainly have to do an awful lot of work if he wants to hold this on. And I think that we won't see him in a top-class 1500 anymore. That was a hard swim, and you can see him blowing, even with the fact that he sprinted at the end. That was a tough swim.
But he's enjoying the moment, soaking it up. Well, he allowed others to test him. And the one who really did in the end, Nguyen. But Sun had something in his locker. And there's Mum. And a little boy, oh, I say a little boy, he stands at 6'8".
Yeah, he looks and sees that 14:58 and realizes that was not only a tough swim, but for him, a very ordinary. It's the dad there, proud dad with just a tear in the eye, as has Sun Yang. That might be the last 1500 that he swims, in fact. But obviously delighted. Great swim from Ji for that bronze. Superb. He knows he's been in a fight there.
With everything he was totally in control of coming into these games, he delivered on. All the individual targets, they were attained. The relays got away, but the 2, the 4, the 8 and the 15 were dominant performances. And you can see from the reaction of Dad and Mum and Son that there was more to this than times, more to it simply than going out and winning a race. It means so much to have completed that sweep of 4 titles,
I think,
in his continental backyard. Look at that, 14:58.50.